Moving forward, I'm going to implement the shuffle feature. Just like the repeat button, we could set the shuffle boolean by setting it from the wheel controller. Let's start with it. Here, instead of calling the shuffle function, I could just set the manager.isShuffle and negate the existing value. And for instance, I just want to print out the new value for us to check in the console log. But this time, unlike repeat, it's not just turning the boolean value and then somehow check in either function. Shuffle is actually shuffling the whole playlist. And let's think about what kind of shuffle we really want. We have a playlist so far, and what we set is in the current playlist. If I shuffle it, I wanted to shuffle the playlist once and then start playing that particular new list instead of just randomly picking the next song. Also, I want to have the next rewind features to be working with shuffle. So the so-called shuffle list is actually a static list being shuffled from the current playlist. By defining the feature, we can start implementing, possibly adding a new playlist called shuffle list to store the order of the shuffle. However, this may become not clear of having the current playlist and shuffle playlist. So in order to make it more clear, we will just add one more playlist here. This would be like the default playlist. Shuffle playlist will come out of the default playlist. And current playlist now will be pointing to whatever list we are currently using. It's also a good time to add some comment. Since I have changed the implementation from current playlist to playlist, let me find the corresponding code in this file and modify accordingly. For example, when I know all the songs, I want to set it to playlist instead of current playlist. But then, when playlist is set, we will set the same list to current playlist as well. So here, the set current playlist equals to playlist. To make a difference after adding the shuffle feature, we only set the current playlist to playlist if shuffle is not set. So now, if shuffle is set to true, we want to create a shuffle version of the playlist. We first check while the shuffle is true. Otherwise, in the else case, it will just set the current playlist back to the playlist. Now it's time to implement the shuffle feature. Since when I'm clicking shuffle, the player may either be playing a song or no song at all. So we need to check that case as well. If there is a song playing, that means current song should have an object. And there will be an else case. Assuming the shuffled version of the playlist will be stored to shuffle playlist variable. After shuffling, I should set the current playlist to the new shuffle playlist. Alright, now is the real time in implementing the feature of shuffling. If there is no song playing, it would be easier to implement because we could just do it by having the shuffle playlist equal to a function we are going to define for the playlist. Let me call it shuffle. It will just shuffle the whole list into a new order and then set to shuffle playlist. I am implementing this shuffle feature in a file called collection type extension. This is a file I just created, and then it extends the collection type class. Actually, it's a protocol. This protocol is used by array, so I'm going to extend it to provide the shuffle feature. What I would look for is it will return an array of song object. What we could do here is to first create a new list out of the current self. Of course, it's also an array value type. And then I'm going to shuffle this list with another function I'm creating called shuffle in place. It will change the value of the current list array and then return this variable. In fact, to make this shuffle feature or function more generic, we don't need to specify the song object here. We could change it to generator.element, which means for any array objects, they could use the shuffle function here as well. Then we are going to implement the details of shuffle in place, which is in the other extension that we just create. It is an extension of mutable collection type. This is a protocol in which extends the collection type, and as the name tells you, it is a mutable version of the collection type. In this case, it is a mutable array, which means the content of the array can be mutated in place and use the same reference as well. In this case, I'm going to take only those collection type with index as the integer value. It will be true when it is an array using integer as the index. The mutating feature, the keyword here for the function, means I could change the inner content of this array directly without creating a new object of it. This would be useful as the Swift allows us to modify the content inside safely. So to start with it, I'm going to check the number of contents, number of objects in the current array. If the count is less than 0, that means there are only either 0 or 1 objects in the array. There is no point in doing anything about shuffling, so I'm just going to return. Otherwise, I'm going to use a for loop, basically double for loop, having the I and j index, which we can use it to swap the object within this array. So for I will be from 0 index from the first element until the last element, but excluding the last element. I'm going to define j as a random number within the range of the current array size, the array count. I could do it like this. Plus the current value of I, so it won't generate a number smaller than the current I. In case the generated value for j is the same as I, there is no point to swap as well. So I'm just going to pass to the next iteration of the for loop. I could do a guard statement here to make sure I is not equals to j, else it will just continue. If the two values are different, I'm going to swap them. As I'm going to swap in place, I'm going to pass with the reference value using the n symbol here. Cell with my current array on the index of I, and swap it with the current arrays at the index of j. So now I have defined the two functions in collection type and mutable collection type. That means the current shuffle feature is available. Let's just go on to finish the implementation for the case we are currently playing a song. In that case, for the random playlist, I want to first ignore the current song and then shuffle the remaining playlist and then just add the current song by appending to the new playlist. So first of all, I want to filter a list from the default playlist and take away the current song. And then for the new shuffle playlist, I will prepend the current song. Just put the current song into an empty array and then add the list. But remember, this should be the shuffle version. So now we have implemented the shuffle playlist feature, and let's test it with the run of the application. Let me start playing. Current song is goes to somewhere to play a song.
Are you looking for co-founders?
And if I turn, if I click the first song again, switch off.